Okay, so now we just need KUAW.
You should have got a notification because I tagged your name in it. Oh yeah, there you go. Turn this down.
Stand up.
Not waste the invite on you. No.
You wasted the invite.
I said, let me not waste the invite on you.
Yes.
Oh dang! I just sent one to Mr. Walker. How do I unsend it? I know because I only get 100. I realized that.
You want to run through my phone next?
Yeah.
What is the invites?
Yeah, you can only send out 100. Hi y'all. See a follow. I see somebody watching.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know who it is. Oh, hi Rello. Shout out to locals. Hey. What happened to the popper?
Brother, his cousin died in a car accident last night.
Oh.
And it was a young man.
We got 2 minutes, y'all. So y'all tapping in. We just trying to get the views up. So when it's time to roll, we be ready. So just bear with us because the show hasn't actually started yet. We still got 2 minutes left. If y'all got some topics y'all want to talk about, drop them in the comments.
Tap in. This is your show too. We trying to build together.
Oh, did you see what is her name?
Covell says 10 minutes away.
2 minutes.
Yeah. Her daughter, Coast to Coast.
She rapping.
10 minutes away. Hey, Covell. Hey, Alana. Hey, Danita. Alana, when is you gonna come back to work, girl? Hi, Rasha.
She's like, wait a minute, I didn't want everybody to know that.
Hey, y'all. My cousin Covell say he 10 minutes away. We got your spot.
What that mean, Covell? That's 20 minutes.
Y'all, like I said, we getting it set up. So y'all go ahead and hit that share button or hit y'all invites. If y'all gonna be tuned in today, invite y'all people. Hit the share button, post it on your page. We got 1 minute. We're gonna be going in actually 6 o'clock.
Just turned 6.
Let's do it.
You ready? After the Moreland James spot, then if it hits it.
Jump into it. Get my situation together.
Make sure y'all let people know we on YouTube,
That's
Facebook. Right. We all over this thing.
We here now.
Shit. We got 16 seconds on it.
I just sent an invite to my mama.
She need to watch. Oh, she watching. Count us in when you're ready, Mr. Walker.
You can't hear it?
I can't hear nothing.
Hi, thank you guys for tuning in. This is The Truth Be Told with myself, T-Baby, and
Nelson Neal.
Yes, we're here to engage in conversation with you guys, topics that hit our community, things that we just want to discuss. We want to keep the conversation going with you. So make sure you tap in on our Facebook, KUAW LPFM 985, YouTube, KUAW. Website KUAW.org. You can
phone
listen
number.
If you want to call in and hear your voice on the radio. Give us a call at 816-599-6893, and y'all walking with us for the next hour. So let's go. What's up, Nelson Neal?
What's up, T-Baby? How you doing?
I'm blessed.
Did you have a good week?
I did.
That's what's up.
Hi, Mr. Johnson.
I'm excited to be in the building. We getting ready to just jump on in it.
Hi, Jalea.
Had an exciting week. A lot of stuff went on this week in the social media world and in the political world too, but I want you to go ahead and kick it off. What you got on your mind?
Well, we went out to the Nelson Atkins Museum for the Juneteenth celebration. I had made a status on my page saying if we should really even celebrate Juneteenth. Because just for you guys who don't know what Juneteenth is, Juneteenth is on June 19th in 1865, I think it was.
Like, well, it was actually a couple years, like 2 or 3 years later that it actually hit Texas. But
the Emancipation was signed by President Lincoln,
right?
And 2 years later, it reached from
Washington D.C.
to Texas.
Right. Took 2 years.
2 years.
So imagine if social media moved like that or something like it was really like it took 2 years to get down to Texas. Then it took like another year for most slaves to realize that they had been free. So they even worked another year after that. So slaves were working 3 to 5 years past the Emancipation Proclamation, which is crazy.
Yeah, they were free.
Free labor.
Yeah, free labor, basically. I mean, slavery was all free labor anyway.
Right.
So June 19th is when the slaves that were down south, which most of them were down south, actually realized and came to the knowledge that they were actually free.
Right.
So we celebrate that, in our community. I went down to Nelson Atkins Museum. Nelson Hill went down to Nelson Atkins Museum. Kennedy was down there. Shout out to Kennedy.
What's up, Kennedy's Corner?
And so, we just went out there to show support, just, to be involved in things. They have another celebration coming up down the 18th and Vine this weekend on Saturday. So I'll be down there.
What you trying to say? I'm not invited? Is that what you're trying to say, T-Baby?
Can I get to it?
You can be like, we may be down there. He's like, I'm be down there. You know what I was thinking too? We should have went live. We kind of did, but we should have went live. But the music was jamming there at the celebration. But we could have went upstairs and got one of those, like, whatever the art museum paintings in the background and gave a little shout out to the town. I just kind of thought about that after we left. We could have did a little session.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got more events and stuff to attend to.
Absolutely.
So we make sure y'all just tap into our personal pages and, of course, the KUAW page so you can catch those live videos when we do go live.
Shout out to my brother's keeper, Mr. Johnson, tapped in 100.
1865 is the Juneteenth. That's 2 years later. The Declaration. Is it the Declaration of Independence?
The Emancipation Proclamation.
Okay, that was signed in 1863.
So right.
Took to 1865 for people to actually realize they were free. Thank you for that information, Kim. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim. That's what we mean when we say call in, tap in, chime in, because you guys are part of the conversation.
Keep us on our toes.
Keep us on our toes. Always.
I try not to act like I know everything.
So you were saying, should we celebrate it? What are you thinking? You should be thinking
because we're not really free.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's physical slavery.
That's what I'm thinking. It's about the physical bondage. Now we got this mental slavery that we still locked up in.
Yeah.
But I think it was just to recognize the piece of paper that stated physical freedom had finally come to us.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. It was cool. It was a good little celebration. I guess it's better than celebrating the 4th of July. So.
Right. I like it, and I like it for the same reasons that I like Memorial Day, because it is us recognizing, an experience that we went through. Just like the first Memorial Day was Asiatics recognizing others that had fallen in war, and Juneteenth is kind of like our 4th of July, sort of just like. But it's we got to understand what it's about. A lot of us just out there because they're doing the electric slide and for no other reason. Right.
But no, I mean, it is a thing to celebrate because we have made a lot of progress. It may not seem like it, but we have. We're continue to progress.
Right.
So, we just got to, it is what it is. It was a good thing. And I encourage everyone.
A good time.
Yeah. I encourage everyone to come down.
DJ Joe was going ham in there.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Joe.
He got on the floor and did his thing. But yeah, it was a good look. And I think we need more culture in our community. Like, when our families expose the children to art, culture, coming together and having fun, having good experiences, and that plays over later on when the child grows up. A lot of us haven't been outside of that 4-block radius of our neighborhood.
Right.
And so we don't know anything outside of that. So sometimes it's good just to be exposed to different experiences. And with that.
And I mean, I think it's important for us to take our kids out there because
for sure.
Our kids need to grow up experiencing different things that we ourselves, our generations may not have been exposed to.
Right.
But if you can expose your children to it, then you're shaping their future and you're shaping the importance of things that you might not have grew up and might not have been at that important to you, but you can make it important to your children. So it was a good look, and I encourage everyone to go out this Saturday.
That's right.
And just fellowship. We'll be down there. I believe most of our KUAW family will be down there. So
yeah, because it's community radio. This is about empowering and uplifting and bringing some information and awareness to the community. So we out here. We're gonna do that.
So it's Father's Day. So we might as well dedicate this show to fathers.
I'll take that. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
June Father's 17th. Day is a Sunday.
That's right.
And we don't want no
Flag Day is June 14th. I just threw that out there. But go ahead, T-Baby.
We don't want no bitter baby mamas trying to take over Father's Day.
That's the thing that
they always try to take over Father's Day.
Right. And they tear social media up.
Yes,
they be putting Happy Father's Day to myself and giving
when probably they have the reason the father ain't in the child's life anyway.
What do you mean? Probably they are 50%.
No. I wouldn't say 50. Here you go making up numbers.
I'll say 50%.
Here you go making
up numbers. And the only reason why I say it's not a makeup number.
Covell didn't step in the room.
I'm happy Covell came because Covell keeps them honest with the numbers. Covell said, you know where numbers come from. They just come from where they come from.
Right.
No, I just say 50% because it takes 2, right? It takes 2, right? 2 people in a relationship. He's not going to be 100% to blame. She's not going to be. It takes 2 people.
But she's usually more to blame. I'm just putting it out
I try to make it even. T-Baby didn't like that. I said, it's 50-50. She said, no, it ain't.
No, you being nice. I ain't being nice.
Exactly.
No, because you got men out here that don't take care of their kids.
T-Baby, now we can say the same thing about our young ladies now.
What is taking care of your kids? Just because they sleep in another room don't mean you're taking care of your kids.
Nah, I'm just saying who's not really there for their children.
Hey, and I did want to say, I said I'll be here in 10 minutes. I got here in 6 minutes.
So let's note that. Let's put that on the truth be told board. Whenever truth is spoken, we need to put a tally mark on the board. He got here
not
on CP time. He got here on KUAW time.
He not on. I never ain't gotta say that. But
Keon, what's up, bro?
But yeah, I'm just saying. I just feel like it.
Come on.
I know. So I do. It does sadden my heart when you see mothers that actually keep their children away from fathers, especially fathers that want to be in their child's life, especially fathers that want to be good fathers. Like women, we have to do better than that because you're not hurting anyone but the child. Like it doesn't really matter what he's done to you. Like as long as you don't feel like your child is in danger and don't go making up no crazy stuff like, oh, he did this, so my child in danger. No, you know how a man feels about his child, and you shouldn't neglect the child. That's neglection. That's child abuse.
Well, go ahead, bro.
Would you say that's the system? Say the government gives the women so much power. Like a woman has to be like a complete wayhead, with 10 priors to lose your kid. No,
not in Missouri.
To lose your kids, for the state to come take your kids or say anything other than split.
Well, I'm just not trying to get the kids to the state either. They lose them, remember?
No.
So
only little Mexican. I'm just fine.
No.
So when it comes, look, now you gonna get us.
No, yeah. Hey, if we at KUAW, so I keep it.
Yeah, let's keep it KUAW. That's what we're gonna say. Let's keep it KUAW. No, but seriously, it takes 2. It takes 2 parents to raise. It takes a village, really. But
communication is just
communication. And anytime that the child is in the middle, that's who suffers, really. Yeah. And generally, what it is, it's the 2 parents can't get along. And so whoever has a child uses that as leverage against the other one. And unfortunately, moms have overwhelmingly been given the children when the couple splits up. And it's unfortunate.
That's not unfortunate.
I think so.
I think the
court needs to seriously look at who's going to be able to provide the best.
And the father needs visitation.
Provide for the. This is truth be told, T-Baby.
But that's one could say that is a sexist viewpoint.
I mean, it's not.
It really is
human nature. Women.
So if we say,
women are more nurturing. Is that the word?
Nurturing.
Nurturing.
We know it.
Nutrition is part of that word. T-Baby's. She gonna have a dictionary.
T-Baby.
40 got a dictionary. T-Baby get a dictionary. No, but what I'm saying is, I think a mother plays the more important role from birth to a certain age point. But then I think the father plays just as of a significant role as well. But the child needs to be exposed to both sexes in order to develop. To have a balanced development as they grow up. So it takes 2.
I mean, it does take 2, but I'm saying if you split up, I wouldn't necessarily. I feel like the child needs to be with the mother.
I think each case is different.
If she's fit.
But that's not
because the mother is more, like I said, more nurturing.
No, nurturing. That's right.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm trying to say.
But
I feel like the woman is more.
But that's generally speaking.
That's not generally speaking. Women are programmed that way.
There's some men that are more fit to take care of the kid than a woman.
What do you mean financially?
Covell, let me take care. Let me ask this question. Let me take.
That's a real word.
Where are you getting your stats from? Where are you getting your number? A woman is just naturally programmed
more.
That's a
woman.
I mean, where are you getting that from?
That's a feeling.
Do I have to break down the signs
so what do we say?
Where are you getting that from?
Women do have more. Nelly said women do have more power when it comes to the courts. I do feel like they always in their favor.
Nelly know what's happening.
I would say that in Missouri, it's really not like that. Missouri is not.
We're talking about as a whole, Asiatics from New York to California, from Texas up to Minnesota, as a whole. When a male and female get together and they have a child, if that relationship doesn't stay a whole union, then generally speaking, not every case, the child goes with the mother.
Well, you do have men out here that know how to care for their children.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that they don't.
Let me give me some thumbs up on that and some hearts and all that stuff.
He loving your comments, Nelly.
Yeah,
cool
Nelly.
Somebody saying like the woman should clean the house because women are naturally more nurturing.
Yes, I'm cool with that. A woman is supposed to take care of her household. That's part of taking care of your household. Now you can't ask me. I'm a Moorish American. We read laws at the beginning of every meeting. Women are supposed to take care of their household.
You better.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Let me throw my sister Donita in here. She said if the name is not on the birth certificate, mom actually has full custody and fathers has full custody and fathers need to know this when they don't sign the certificate. You give her all the power, but you do not escape child support though, because you don't have to have your name on that birth certificate when that blood test hit that DNA thing and they hit you with that child support. So if you're signing it or not signing it to get out of child support, that don't work either.
Why would a man not sign the birth certificate?
Because sometimes people think. You go ahead, bro.
No.
Well, we kind of have a different understanding of a birth certificate. So there's a lot of people that don't want to have the immunization shots that they give you at the hospital. They don't want it to be recorded like that because they know that a birth certificate is nothing more than a stock or a bond that the government puts on, us. So later on, when you get your social security number and all of that, they say Moors don't have birth certificates, period. So
I got a birth certificate and I'm a Moor.
Well,
I was born a Moor.
That's what
my
they
birth
say.
Certificate say Griffin Bay.
That's what they say. We're not.
What's Moor exactly? Like I ain't well read. I just
we've been here.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you handle that one.
Okay.
What is a Moor? You should have had that as a topic. That's a great question, bro.
That's gonna open up something totally different. But basically, an Asiatic. It's the original man. We're all Moors, whether you recognize yourself as that or not, you're still a Moor. So, and a lot of, if you look at history, not even from my point of view as in my head, because I don't want to open it up to that'll do a broader.
We're gonna keep truth be told. Yeah. Let's keep it truth be told.
I'm just gonna say this is something that people can look up, just for the people that's out there listening and they can think about. But they used to have the word Blackamoor. Back in the day,
right?
They used to address Beethoven as a Blackamoor.
Well, because said his mother was Asiatic.
His mother was a Moor, yeah. They used to call him a Blackamoor, which is Moor means black. Oh,
yeah,
let me not say that, but
Moor means
Moor is a word. It doesn't actually mean black, but it's synonymous with the word black, and it's an ancient word. Comes from long ago.
Black Knight.
Like in Black Knight. Yeah. Mind your tongue, Moor. But this actually kind of segues over into one of the things that I had, right? You probably seen it today. I put it out there, male birth control, since we're talking about relationships and children. And one man can birth, the way that the post was written, a man could actually birth one child every day of a year, 365 days a year. He can be with a new woman if he works hard and he's got strong loins and he eats his ginseng and he's, he can actually do that. Pineapples. A woman can only have one baby a year, once a year. So should we focus more on male birth control instead of female birth control when we're talking about having these children? Oh, you're a Catholic now, huh?
No,
Catholic
birth control. You gotta understand. It goes back into big pharmacy. That's big pharmacy. They take birth control now. Do you know how many women are was it infertile?
That's the word.
Infertile because of birth control or sterile. Like they're actually making them sterile, especially when it comes to Asiatic women and our women. Like the things that they're giving them and feeding them is poisoning their body.
Absolutely,
to where they won't be able to have kids ever.
It's counterproductive to the natural function of the body.
It's population control. Birth control is being mindful of who you're sleeping with and being mindful of your ovulation calendar and keep it at that.
So does that ovulation calendar work? You see a lot of Catholics, they be having like 20 kids, but they be going off the calendar. No, they just going off the calendar. They like it said between June 14th and June 20th. We could do it, but
we live in a technology built world right now.
Absolutely.
There's an app for that.
Okay, so I gotta look at my phone when I want to have relations. Like, dang, baby, I want to hook up with you tonight, but looks like we gotta wait till Friday. You gotta do it like that.
I mean,
you got some other. We better leave this conversation go down a dark alley.
Yeah,
because I was about to say, well, maybe they can do some other things, but I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it.
Just wrap it up,
or just be good. I ain't even going.
See, I'm talking about. Yes, sir.
Like.
Y'all tap in with the comments. I want to know what y'all think about this birth control.
Hello.
Like women automatically their hormones go up.
Hold on,
down.
Nelly. What doesn't work at all? Are you saying birth control don't work at all, or the app don't work at all? Like what don't work at all?
Danita said that's science. What you been over there teaching her?
Everything.
Now she coming back to me talking about that science.
Yeah, that's that.
I know
we're
it's
talking about
science.
The woman. That's that science. Y'all know about that.
Well, I mean, we could talk about. How many birth control methods are there? It's like only about 5, right?
No, you got oral, you got the depot shot, you got the ring, you got.
But and all of that affects hormones. It makes it
exactly.
Except for and I hope this is not crossing
Nelly,
the line. So
Nelly, the app works. You just gotta use it right, okay? I've been a firm believer of the app and a firm user of the app.
I use this app on my. I use an app on my phone.
Now.
I put this address in on this app on my phone. I was lost like a mug. That GPS had me all crazy around the way. I wonder, can you sue the app if it doesn't work?
No.
Is there something you?
No, you cannot. My Days is a good one, Nelly.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna go there.
For you, it ain't for. It's for women.
Are you gonna plug?
We're talking about male birth control. I'm talking about male birth control.
In the app store. It's called My Days.
Google. I guess you gotta Google it.
Yeah, but But I mean, it is.
It said I'm not
used for 3 years. It did not work.
Now, thank you, Nelly.
How many kids do you have?
Nelly.
Until uneducated, financially deprived communities turn that around, it's irresponsible to not teach real birth control. What is real birth control, Gordon?
This is what real birth control. Let me tell you what real birth control is. In my opinion, that's real birth control is what he said in that abstinence. But this is why it's real. I think before you intermingle your spirit with somebody else, you need to know them in every season, right? So you need to know somebody how they act in the summer, in the winter, in the fall, in the spring. Because if you meet somebody in the summer, they might act one way. Then wintertime comes, they might be a totally different person. So you need to know a person before you know a person.
I mean, but I don't know about that summer, spring, and fall.
No, it's cool.
I'm using it as an analogy. You need to see them happy, mad, all of that stuff.
Say some real stuff.
You got to go through all of the seasons with that person before, so you know who that person is.
Yeah, that's true. Because I definitely like to see like how a person is like when they're angry or stuff like that. Because when your spirits intertwine, like you start acting like that person.
Yeah, you take on little of their habits and their.
Yeah, you don't want to be. You can't be mixing my good old spirit with your old negative old spirit.
Excuse me.
You can't be having that. So you try to say my spirit ain't good. My spirit is excellent.
Man, I'm gonna pass on that comment right now.
What do you think about her spirit?
It's perfect.
I'll put it like this. She's got a beautiful spirit. We're gonna leave it at that. But I'll tell you this, I will say this. You're not gonna be able to see a person's spirit when you tipsy halfway out in the club. She got her skirt up to here. Everybody's in there for one thing, and that's the hookup.
Overcoming your carnal self.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how a lot of our younger generation made it into the manifest is because of we was at the club and he had all this money or she looked a certain way. So we hooking up for the wrong reasons, and so thus we dealing with this generation.
That's true.
That is a
lust,
lower self reasons.
Well, but like if you go back to like say caveman.
Like, I don't know nothing about the caveman.
No, like
when I say wrong reason, this is why I say wrong reasons.
You don't know nothing about the caveman.
I definitely understand what you're saying because that's what makes the world go round.
Come here.
Now you just over the head, just drag that girl in the cave, boy.
So they put it in
that sounds like great.
That sound like that was
how you do it until they said, "Hey, we
probably should be doing it that way." Anyway,
since this is truth be told, I want to play on that, but I won't. That sounds to me, and this might sound a little prejudgy, but that to me sounds Neanderthal-ish, like a Neanderthal caveman. But we never was cavemans. Cavemen. We never hit our women over the head and drug her nowhere. These women here, they too feisty, spicy. They spicy.
Hey, look, Kim got a new song called Spicy.
I know, that's what I said. They too spicy.
So Gordon said our community has over 20,000 children.
That's right. In foster care. That's right.
And more living under the poverty line.
That's
Uncontrolled baby making is killing us more than birth control. Poverty and lack of education is killing us, not birth control. Well, I do know a couple of people that have died from birth control. You get blood clots and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like the one that they put in your arm.
Depo.
No, that's the Depo. That's a shot.
Okay. What's the thing that's in there?
But the IUD that they put in your arm or they can put in like your uterus, it be moving and you mess around, then have to get everything taken out.
Right.
Because you all
get a hole.
Up.
And you know what? It seemed like European women, I hate to say it like this, but it seemed like when they hit about right before that menopause, they get about 45, 50, they just have a total, what's that called, bro? When they get all of that taken out of there, hysterectomy. And a lot of that is from the effects, negative effects of having taken birth control for so many years.
Yeah.
Birth control make a woman blow up too. She might put on 30, 40 pounds when she starts taking birth control.
A lot of times, that's, I don't want to say it's an excuse. A lot of cases,
she just eating, talking about this birth control. It's messing with my hormones.
But I want to talk more about what he was saying because
bring it. Gordon.
We have he said the children. Okay, let me kind of get back to what he was saying. Uncontrolled baby making is killing us more than birth control. Now, I don't know about killing us.
I don't know if it's killing more than birth control because there's a Planned Parenthood in every single lower income neighborhood that I'm sure in a year's time probably knocks at least thousands of Asiatic babies off. I'm talking about national.
The thing about it is education. Educate your children growing up. Like I used to tell I had some conversations with some friends and they maybe have like a 5-year-old or a 13-year-old or something. And a kid will ask you, well, where do babies come from? Oh, I cut them out of mama's stomach.
The stork dropped the baby off.
No, tell them the truth. Don't lie to your children. Education is way more, it's better.
That's your birth control right there is education.
Like, educate them. I remember when I was going through my little puberty stage and my mom used to tell me.
Was you educated or did you have to find out on your own?
I was educated. Okay. The way my mama explained it to me, it made it so much. It was like, it wasn't like I was just about to be out here just doing anything. And to this day, I'm still like that. Because she let me know your body is your temple. You don't let just anybody up in your temple. Do they let anybody in the church? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they do let anybody in church nowadays.
When the doors is open.
But no, they used to not be like that though. Church used to not be like that.
Come as you are.
Okay, so think about like a holy temple of like India and
everything. You
can't just walk up in there.
We with you. We with you.
You can't just do that. So
well, you got to guard that heaven.
Educate your kid, right? Exactly.
You got to be that angel that's not letting folks into the garden.
Right. Okay. And so Danita said, I heard that the Depo was created for men to mess with their hormones to make them have desires for other men.
Wow.
And then they started to give it to females. And that's another thing.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, she's got a thing about that too. I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead with that.
Well, I'm saying that's another possibility. That's another possibility. Don't get me wrong. I'm not homophobic or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. What you do is what you do. But they will start putting you talking about getting male birth control. Now all of a sudden you taking a pill and now you never liked men before. Now you're looking at men coming out the pool like, dang, he looks
no.
Right, your hormones hormones is just, your hormones is just
can be manipulated.
They can be manipulated. They said they was doing it in food, turning young men.
They was doing it. They've been doing it. They do it through the Similac and through the Enfamil too.
Because a man and a man can't make a child,
and a woman can't either.
That's population control.
But this is what it does when you play with testosterone and you play with estrogen. If you give a woman too much estrogen, the body automatically has a reaction to where it turns into testosterone. Over estrogen starts making her manly, and when you start messing with his testosterone, you can turn him feminine. And so they've been experimenting for years. They've been understanding how the human hormone system works, and this is the reason why they are pushing certain agendas right now.
Yeah,
it's part of birth control.
Yeah. I mean, and it is. It's all population control because y'all know they don't want us out here just making a whole bunch of babies and ruling the world because they want us to. They tell y'all that y'all the minority and they want y'all to believe that.
When they tell you can't do it, brother still got 3 baby mamas. So imagine if it was legal. It was.
We ain't gonna be lying trying to hit without a rubber. Hey, baby, I'm on that birth control.
No, talking about I'm on birth control.
I'm on birth control.
You know they passed that new law and everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm on.
We ain't gonna be out here lying.
Let me see the packet. Let me see the packet.
He gonna
have a Nicorette patch on his arm talking about this birth control right.
No, I'm not falling for it.
Somebody gonna get caught up.
Yeah, they all gonna
I guess that's why a woman do need to have the birth control because she the one gonna have the baby. So if she's taking it, she can't be lied to.
That's true.
We ain't gonna be out here lying, talking about baby, I'm on that birth control. Just like they be lying, talking about that. Man, look, nah. We ain't doing that. But so Gordon has said Planned Parenthood in Newark, New Jersey, Chicago, etc. is black children raised in poverty, bad schools, no access to health care, leading to killing fields in our hoods. I feel like Planned Parenthood makes it easier because they know, like, if I'm doing this and I just happen to get pregnant, I can go right around the corner of Planned Parenthood and take care of this. Like, I feel like it makes it easier and it gives them the out. Like, I'm pro-choice but pro-life at the same time because I don't think it should be as easy or accessible to get an abortion. Like, I'd rather for you get a child up for adoption before abortion because adoption is so many people who can't have children.
I think that your man Gordon is probably going to say, if you say go for the adoption, he's going to say it's 20,000 children in foster care that's not being adopted right now.
Foster care is something different because you got to look at foster care. Foster care, those kids be coming in there 6, 7, 8 years old.
Well, some of them are babies and some of them are raised in foster care.
Babies, but there's not that many babies.
My point is, if the adoption is going to be the answer, there's too many of us that's not getting adopted. So that's not working for us. This is what I think, and this is a little bit contrary to what Gordon is saying. And I definitely love the intelligent aspect and thought and consideration that's put into some of these responses that we have here.
I want to hear from some of these mothers.
But at the end of the day, a lot of what we think about ourselves has been put in our minds through propaganda. So when we think in New York, New Jersey, Chicago, and Asiatics living in these conditions, we actually love our children. No child is here by an accident.
Right.
No child is here by a mistake. If you on this planet, there's a purpose for you to be here. And I don't care if you thought it was an accident or mom and dad shouldn't have hooked up. That child has a purpose, just like you're here passing judgment on them, thinking that they're this or that. They're going through that condition. They're going through that experience because they're being prepared for whatever they got here. The universe is going to give them. So nobody is here by an accident. Let's just say that. But I don't think that the conditions that we keep looking at these horrible conditions, but that ain't the problem. That's not the problem. It's us waking up. Somebody made a statement and it said the worst thing to forget is who you are. You know, I done forgot my keys. I done forgot my driver's license. I done forgot all kind of stuff I need. I used to wear glasses. I forgot my glasses. I don't even know how I was seeing with no glasses. But just think, if you forget about who you are, when you forget who you are, you end up in these kind of conditions. You end up in poverty situations. You end up in lack of education. You end up on the bottom of the barrel. So it's not us having children that's the problem. It's not being able to educate these children because we don't know who we are. You know?
Do you know how to bring it in?
Hey, we're gonna learn on the fly.
Right.
But
so let me read this comment real quick from Khadijah. Truth is always best policy, in my opinion. Lies are introduced to us all our life. What beauty is, your rights, etc. My children know I always tell them the truth. Sometimes it's not time for them to know yet until they're old enough to understand. I had a water boat with both my girls, and my oldest was there for her sister's boat. Now, I do agree with that. You do got to keep it on their level. Thank you, Khadijah. Yes, thank you for that comment, Khadijah. But because you do got to keep it on their level. Like, you know, you don't want to be explaining to a 5-year-old about an
epidural, or something that's be over their head. But you could give them a general understanding.
Okay, and but yeah, so honesty is the best policy, and if it's not time for them to know it yet, just hey, baby, I'm gonna tell you that when you're a little older. I ain't ready to answer that for you right now. That's not important for you to know right now. Steer them away from the question or the conversation, but you don't have to lie to them, and you don't have to make up stories. You know, because then they become little girls. That you seen that picture of the 11-year-old girl that was pregnant.
Seen
like it. That it comes into things like that. You got to properly educate your child, but as parents, you got to be properly educated yourself.
That's right. That's the key.
Well, that's the key. That's the key. Programs like Planned Parenthood and other parent, you know, like even, you know, say like Section 8 and things like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of these programs are made to just kind of enable, but like you said, you know, like it's not educating. You know what I mean? Like,
well, a lot of them are actually doing worse for us than they're helping us, but they're coming in under the guise of programs that are put in place to help us. Sound like the quiet storm is going on. But those programs are actually not to help us. There's an ulterior motive, or there's a purpose that's behind them that's maybe not our agenda. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
It might be. But we feel our children have a purpose.
No, he said if
we feel they have a purpose, okay, then where's the thousands of Nelson L's? We right here.
First of all,
we right here. We right here. And see, this is what else it's about. It's about timing too. See, everything happens in perfect timing. So we're coming through a process right now. We're actually going through a shift of paradigm if you want to take it up. And so right now it looks like total chaos, but these are just the birthing pains for our new reality that we're getting ready to come into. There's thousands of Nelson L's out here. There's thousands of us. There's brothers from New York to California that's positive, pushing a positive agenda and love their people.
Well, let me kind of speak on this because it's kind of, I don't know what kind of comment he was kind of making, but here's the thing. Anything that God's bringing to life, and if you know that when a child comes into existence, that is for a purpose, because every time you lay down with someone, you don't have a child. Every time you have unprotected sex with someone, you don't make a child. Like, it's not a guarantee that you go make a child. It doesn't really matter if the ovulation or any of that things. It has to be God's timing.
It's God's plan.
So you got to know that anytime a child actually comes into play, that it's a purpose for that child.
Absolutely.
To be here. Absolutely. Whether you know that purpose or whether you don't know that purpose, but God has a purpose for that child.
Absolutely.
So that's what he's mean when he was saying that all children have a purpose, because that child, you never know.
Same
who that
as you have a purpose.
Up to be. That child could be the next Barack Obama. You never know who that child is going to be if you don't give them the chance and the opportunity and the proper education and raising to make it to who it's supposed to be. Now, don't get me wrong. It is some people out here that children come into some messed up situations and everything like that. But that's where the village comes in. We don't have villages no more.
That's right.
Parents out here, don't touch my child. Don't you do my child like that. They don't have that.
We don't even know our neighbors. Somebody might be living across the street for 10 years. You ain't never spoke to them, or we used to know.
Because they make life so fast.
There was a question, and somebody had threw it out to say, man, you can't do nothing without money these days. You got to have money. You got to have money. And I said, I'd rather have unity than have money. Because this is how they used to do it back in the day. My pops, he like 73. He talks all the time about how things were back in the day. But he said, this is how we did it back in the day. We might not have had no money. But T-Baby, she had a cup of sugar. You had some milk. I had some eggs. We're going to eat cake tonight. You feel me? But we came together to do that. So it's getting back into that mindset that we are here together. And as we go, you know what I'm saying, we're here because of how we do as a unit. We got to come together.
Gordon said we wouldn't need programs if more time and thought was to put into baby and family making. And that's true.
We agree.
I definitely agree, because people didn't got away from the the importance of family. They didn't got
what is a family these days? Exactly. Is a family mom and dad and 2.5 kids? Now you got a family today. You got, and I think we brought this up one other time. You might have a family that's 4 different last names in the family. One person is Anderson, one person is Nelson, another person is a whatever, Green or whatever. And so the family dynamic, we don't even have a clear concept of what family is these days. The whole fabric of the family has been kind of ripped apart, and now it's being put back together, almost like a Mr. Potato Head with all these different pieces and parts. But we got to get back to that old time thinking, that old time religion. And when I say that religion just means way of life. We got to get back to that old way of life, that old way of thinking. Because the more we try to integrate ourselves into someone else's understanding, the further we get away from the source from which we come.
Yeah. So we was talking about Father's Day for those who are just tuning in. We were talking about Father's Day and kind of got into about the male birth control and things like that. So I kind of want to kind of backtrack just a little bit, kind of change it up a little bit, but still kind of within the same topic.
Well, come on in.
I was listening to a show and they were talking about how boys who don't have fathers, you know, they blame that on everything that they do out here, killing each other and robbing and all that. That's all because he ain't got no daddy.
I see a little bit of a skepticism in your tone.
I mean, this because I don't feel like it should be an excuse. Like it shouldn't be just
no
because
excuses.
Just because you're
no excuses.
It's an excuse. If you say, "Oh, I can be out here robbing people because I didn't have a daddy to show me the right way," that's an excuse.
Let me ask you this, T-Baby. If a young man has nobody to pattern himself behind, how does he know how to be a man?
Does he not have nobody?
Well, I'm just asking.
You got coaches,
just
you
a
got
question.
Teachers,
just
you
a
got
question.
Pastors,
If he doesn't have nobody that he looks up to and respects, because a lot of times our young men don't respect the police. We don't respect the pastor. We don't respect the principal or the teacher.
Well, then his mama didn't teach him no respect.
But if you have an active dad, if you have an active father, you got at least a pattern, especially if you got a good dad.
So what about women without mothers?
They need a pattern too. No, they need a pattern.
What about foster kids? Do they get a pass?
Everybody needs a pattern.
They don't have a mother or a father.
You gotta find a pattern. Somebody to pattern yourself behind.
But that don't necessarily have to be a mother or a father. Everybody can have a
You don't have to be the biological, but if you're a single mom, you need to make sure if you have a male child that you have that child. You got to be careful though, because there's so much crazy stuff, but you got uncles, you got dad, you got brothers, you got somebody that they can kind of pick that child, that young male up and tutelage him and help him to define himself. But if he don't ever have that role model, then he's lost.
But you cannot say that just because he has a father that he doesn't have that role model. Maybe they're not looking for a role model in their life or something. I don't know, but because there's always
it's a child. You're talking about a child now.
There's always somebody though.
I don't know if there's always. I will say this:
just you and the mother.
I'll say this, but mom has to be active because the child don't make a decision of who I get to hang out with. He don't get to say I want to hang out with Uncle Tony. Mama has to say that, and sometimes mom wants to coddle the child, keep the baby inside. You can't go outside and play. You're going to be staying up underneath me and then wonder why the child is behaving this way.
Is this a fact, Gordon? He said 80% of all males incarcerated had no father.
We need to get the percentages, but I want to get the percentages, but I'm not going to just discount Gordon. I do think that plays a part in it. The other thing that it plays a part in when a child is raised by a male child anyway, raised by the mother. Now, check this out. It's just Nelson Hill, and I don't have no statistics. But when you have been dominated by a woman, which would be your mama, go to bed, wash them dishes. You're going to get a whooping. I'm going to get that belt. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And she is the dad to you, so to speak. When you grow up and you start having relationships with women, that affects the way you look at women. I got beat by a woman. I got slapped by a woman. I got, told to shut up and I couldn't talk by a woman. So now this is how I'm going to treat women, the way my mama treated me. Because that's how women act sometimes. Women, listen, when you have a male child that is raised by a woman, he obviously, like we talked about with relations, he takes on some of her characteristics and her traits, if you will. There needs to be a man somewhere around there. Has to be a man. A good upright man.
So
take him to church, get him with some deacons, or take him to the temple. Let him get with some muftis. He's got to have a pattern.
Danita said, so it's okay to partially blame who raised the kid, who raised you.
Well, it's no blame is being.
But it is blame. blame.
No, it's not blame. It's the circumstance, and then you got to deal with it. It's like somebody dealt you cards. If you're gonna blame me, I'm the dealer. I don't know what you got. You got to work with what you got, and generally a worse hand actually makes you stronger.
Mass incarceration stimulated 2 generations of men. Oh, Gordon, please don't get me on incarceration.
Gordon, I'm with you on that. It happened.
They need to stop making choices to get themselves incarcerated.
This is what happened. Every 10 years, it switched. So in the 1960s, we had role models. We had Dr. Martin Luther King. We had El Malik El-Haj Shabazz, known as Malcolm X. We had Black Panther, Stokely Lee Carmichael. You had Bill Cosby back in those days. And so in the 60s, they came through and they infiltrated the Nation of Islam. They infiltrated the Black Panthers. They assassinated Martin. They killed Malcolm. So we didn't have any role models, no what you might call so-called Black or Asiatic leadership. That put us in with no father figure. That put the whole nation as children into what do we do now with no leadership or no pattern. See, Malcolm X was a pattern for men. Muhammad Ali was a pattern. Martin Luther King was a pattern. So in the 60s, they killed all of that. What happened directly after that? 1970s, Pimpin', Superfly, black exploitation films, Dolomite, all of that stuff came out. Then right after the 70s hit, crack cocaine hit in the 80s, took out a generation. Then right after the 80s hit, the mass prison or the
war on drugs.
No, that happened during the 80s, but that led to the 90s, which was the prison industrial complex. And so all the brothers that was running around, you got swept up in it. You couldn't help it. It's a lot of brothers right now is getting out of prison that went to prison in the 90s. That's just getting out now, and they're finding out they didn't do nothing. The DNA or the law came back that they were innocent.
Maybe
there's a documentary on tonight.
Karma never lies.
Well, there's a documentary on tonight. Karma, just because you went to prison don't mean that's a bad thing either. See, you got to take a perspective of, is prison bad? What if the brother went in there and got a better education than he could have got at Harvard or Cornell or an Ivy League school, and then he comes out and is an asset to his community? So when we just look at that, at least that, if we look at it, we got to understand how we processing things too. Like we talked about, you get a car accident, or you have a flat tire. And you mad because you got this flat tire and you change the tire and then realize later on 2 miles up the road, it was a 10-car pileup and 7 people died. So what you thought was a bad thing actually was a good thing. See, what's happened with this prison industrial complex, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, the only way or one way that you get to know God is you got to become quiet and you got to be still. That's how you hear God talk. You're quiet and you're still. So through this prison process and honest to our love ill, a lot of people met Prophet Noble Drew Ali, met Elijah Muhammad, met Jesus Christ, met whoever they needed to do to change their life. So while other people are running around here and living in this cesspool that we call the world, we're actually being preserved and coming out. They had a prison team of inmates that was a debate team. And they debated 5 or 6 Ivy League big schools that had access to internet and all the resources. These brothers didn't have nothing but books. And these inmates were beating Ivy League schools on the debate team.
Well, now, we ain't saying that they stupid.
So what I'm saying is, let's not look at it as 80% of us is all horrible and this and that. What I'm saying is there's a reason for it, because you don't know it. We can't say stop doing stuff to get you sent to prison. You don't know what's going to happen in your life.
Stuff to go to prison.
Being Asiatic is something. Can you stop doing that? Can you stop being Asiatic? Can you stop being Asiatic? Can you stop being you? Listen, let me tell you something. When you are in a power structure and there's a control system that the opposite power is in control on the other end of the spectrum, just by you being who you are is a threat.
No, it's not.
Maybe not to you, but you can only talk for you as an Asiatic woman. I can
talk for what I can see. I got brothers.
You can only talk for you.
I got brothers.
Okay, so your brother has a sister, which is you. Can I go ask your brother what it feels like to have a baby?
It doesn't matter.
Can I ask him what it feels like to have a baby? No, because he's not a woman. What I'm saying is I'm passionate about this because I'm the target, not you. So if I'm the target, listen, I'm educating my son. I got a 14-year-old son. And so I got to tell him he's next, and I got to let him know, because who he is, he's a perfect A student, and he goes to an academy that is the best in the state of Kansas, but that doesn't get him off.
He's wearing a hoodie.
That doesn't get him off.
Yeah, no, it's different perspectives. Different perspective.
It's a different perspective.
The sound. Calm down.
Oh, wow. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, the calm down or the messing up the sound? Well, because the sound don't matter to me. The sound don't bother to me. Sound don't matter to me. Sound don't matter to me. And if it's somebody that don't like it, they should comment about it.
Okay, well, let me make a comment. Because I don't want my video sounding terrible.
Comment about it. You don't like it. Comment about it. Comment about it. You don't like Nelson L. Comment about it. Absolutely, it's good. Absolutely, it's good. Listen, it ain't nothing bad, and don't nobody determine good or bad. There's no good or bad in the world. There's no good or bad in the world. It's how you react to it. So if you got a problem with it, change your reaction.
And look, and to his point, I'm a dude, black dude or whatever like that. Look, just think about it. If we were talking to an officer or something like that, if I say something with some chest and make him fear, or he can say he's feared, then he can do whatever to me. But since it's a woman, it's a different hesitation.
Is it Sandra Bullock?
Is it?
Well, that's kind of.
Is it? We got 1,000 different videos out here.
Women got it easier.
So what did Sandra do? What did she do it wrong? She didn't die out in her car. She got taken.
Look at the percentages, though.
Look at the percentage.
Okay, so we got Sandra.
Name her name. Katrina. What's her name? To start with a G. That they went in.
I'll run you 10 brothers right now.
This is the pointless conversation because the thing is, like, that's almost like saying we're like comparing plights. We're both in the same plights. We feel like we're more of a target because we usually are.
Well, we stand in front. If you're a real man and you walk in the room with your woman, you're gonna take the bullet first. Are you not? Are you gonna push her in front of the bullet?
Look, and the thing is, if it was a system to get rid of, say, black males or whatever like that, they weren't really worried about.
Listen, if it wasn't no threat out here to worry about, it wouldn't be all of this stuff going on. We watch video after video of unarmed, innocent brothers. Brother got killed in his grandpa's backyard for touching his cell phone. What did he deserve to do to get killed? I don't know. I guess he did something wrong. Another brother selling loose leaf, Lucy cigarettes on the corner. He gets choked out. I can't breathe. I guess he did something wrong. Another brother told the cop, I got a conceal and carry. Here's my conceal and carry card. I do have a gun. He got shot in front of his 4-year-old daughter and his girlfriend. I guess he did something wrong.
Okay, so you don't know the law of karma? Is that what you're sitting here?
We're not talking about karma because we're not talking about,
because you don't know what those people did.
I understand that, and I understand.
So quit acting like you don't.
Listen, T baby, you starting to get a little bit over the line with me, straight up. So what I'm saying is, European don't determine who is able to receive justice or not. That's all I'm trying to say. So we have to be guarded when we go out here.
Nothing happens by accident.
Nothing happens by accident.
Okay, then. So you can't say that it was that the hand just because
it's not an accident that I'm Asiatic.
Just because it happened.
It's not an accident.
Can I talk?
It's not an accident that I'm Asiatic. It's not an accident that the things happen. But I'm saying there's a system in place, and if you believe that it's not, then you're blind.
Hold on. All right. Trump visited Singapore to talk with Kim Jong-un. How do y'all say that? How you say it?
Kim Jong.
Little Kim.
About that? Little Kim.
No, not Little Kim.
Little Kim.
The president of Korea.
Little Kim is 34 years old. Donald Trump is 73 years old. This is the same thing that's going to happen with that is the same thing that's happened with any other peace treaty or agreement or anything else that they come to.
No, it's a long.
What you trying to say?
Kim is legacy over there. So he knows what he's doing, and this is just puff and fluff. It's just nothing happening other than we're gonna be in a war.
No, like Kim Jong-un, like people are saying, he's saying that he should get the peace. What's it called? The Nobel Peace Prize or whatever like that. But basically, like I just want to get y'all opinions on it because, like a lot of these countries, people say North Korea's got a whole bunch of issues, like, and they do or whatever like that. But a lot of times they just want a seat at the table. So I'm just trying to see which side of y'all are.
It's nothing happening. To be honest, I was going to bring it up, but I knew this ain't even the forum for that. We talk about politics, but this is more about the conversation that resonates on this level. That's more of a level that you're not going to see the manifestation of that until after 2020. Gordon said, Nelson, you're not saying prison is okay. Prison, if you end up there, should be a rehabilitation mode, not punishment mode. More states currently don't have education programs, and that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying us as Asiatics, the prison industrial complex has been privatized right now. We can buy the prisons. We can buy prisons and educate our own people through the penitentiary system if we came together to do that. So is the show over or what's happening?
No.
Okay, Listen, we live, so it ain't even it's not no playing around with it, all the mouth, and just talk. I'm real. I'm here. It's nothing. And I'm grown. So what's happening? What else happening? Dang.
Okay, so yeah, don't go to jail, guys. It's being childish. Ooey. So hi, Terrence. Data is various, but most conservatives is 60% up to 90% in local jails. Okay. I guess that's cool, but I'm not saying that prison should be more of a rehabilitation thing, because that's why it's important to vote coming up here in August, because those are the type of people that work with those type of things to make sure that those, I don't know what to call them, but I don't want to call them prisons, but those I guess prisons, jails are up to par and hold to a certain standard of where it isn't like a punishment mode for people, because it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a punishment. It should be trying to get them back on the right path into doing the right thing, but I do want to say that a lot of people do things that cause them to be put in those situations. Like, you can say that all the numbers were so-and-so must be innocent or might be innocent. Yeah, they might have been innocent of that crime, but you can't say that people ain't did nothing doing nothing to get there.
But I think the disagreement is bigger than the disagreement actually
is. Men and black and Asiatic men have it somewhat harder, but in these days, Asian times, they not caring whether you woman or man.
Well, and look, and I disagree with that.
You don't think so?
But I disagree with that.
Care?
No,
you think it do?
You said no. It's a difference.
It majorly does. It's not women getting kicked out of Starbucks. It's not. Well, it's Asiatic males just getting hit by police cars.
But like I said, if I was the white man, if I was trying to take over and get rid of the black race, I wouldn't target the women.
Well,
he's trying to sleep with her. See, this is the thing about the European. At least the Asiatic woman has something to offer him. He can have a baby with her. He can have a relationship with her. He can marry her. He can build a family with her. He can't do nothing with you, Corvell. You have nothing to offer him. So of course you basically get treated like the bottom of the barrel. Mm-hmm. You are the commodity that he basically eats off of. At least the female has something to offer. So we do get treated worse.
I just feel like they've been so subconsciously programmed that they do things to put themselves in that situation. They out here running around with their pants.
Nobody's saying that that's not. Nobody's saying that don't happen.
Out here, you know
unconscious.
What I'm saying? Like, that's
out here, unconscious.
They not take care of their children.
But like, no, a lot of people say robbing or whatever. Like I said, and I know people that do some robbing. You know what I mean? But they don't have the and there's no excuse. But they don't have the way that I can communicate. They don't have some people are darker. Some people are taller.
Yeah.
Some people
it's like,
you know what I mean? So it's just different.
It's like this. Would the fish swallow the bait if he knew the hook was therein? You got brothers just running around unconscious. And so they keep getting caught up. Yes, they are doing things to be caught up. They're unconscious. But the system basically thrives on that, thrives on your lack of knowledge, thrives on your lack of self-knowledge, thrives on stupidity, thrives on drugs, alcohol, liquor store on every single corner, thrives on these things because they know that these are inhibitants to making good, sound decisions. They talk about frequency, talk about the frequency. Love has a frequency and hate has a frequency. The frequency of hate is basically tantamount to a police siren. And when you live in a community where there's nothing but gunshots, police sirens, ambulance, fire trucks, these type of experiences around you, it affects the way you think and it affects the choices and decisions that you make. So it's not you making a decision necessarily. You are being programmed and then remotely controlled through your thoughts. Now, who is controlling your thoughts? The things you watch on TV, the things that you come into contact with. That's being controlled by somebody else.
All right. Well, we're out of here, y'all. So let's get to Holy Covenant Ajax Nation real quick. And y'all make sure y'all tune in next week. You are the children, one father, provided for by his care, the breast of one mother, have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with our brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in our Father's house. And when you separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity. And prefer not a stranger, prefer their own blood. If thy brothers in adversity, assist him. If thy sisters in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy Father contribute to the support of his whole race. And his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Peace.
Peace.
Tyrone, you here? What's up? Not paying child support or being pulled over by police or having a phone in your hand doesn't deserve the death penalty.